Well, here we are. And as I said on Friday, I wanted to do a quick video on the Woolley and Wallace sale. It's a big sale, actually. It runs a couple of days, and it's going to be held over at their gallery in Salisbury, which is about 80 or 90 miles southwest of London. It's an hour and 50-minute drive. If you're in London, you know where it is. At any rate, it's a beautiful part of the country, not far from Stonehenge, actually, just south of, well, it's I don't know, 20 miles south of Stonehenge, I guess. But anyway, that's where it is. And they're a very well established auction house. If you've never done business with them before, they have excellent people there. And they're very highly regarded in the auction community. And they've got a 2-day sale coming up. It starts on the 19th of May and ends on the 20th of May. And they've altogether, between the two Chinese works and Asian works of art sale plus the Japanese sale, they have it's a little under 1,000 lots. What they're selling, 904 lots will be in this sale. And there's some very interesting things in here. There's some exceptional bronzes. I think they're going to do very well, and some very good porcelains. And there's some fine Chinese carvings and that sort of thing. A lot of jades, snuff bottles. In the Japanese section, there's a big section of ceramics and okimono, and there's a lot of netskis, inros. There's a big inro collection, and we'll go through them. I'm not going to be able to go through them all, obviously, because we'll be here for a month. But I'll give you some of the highlights, what I think look interesting. Go to the site yourself. They have catalogs available to flip through. It's Woolley and Wallace. This is the company, and we talked about it before. We've covered their other sales in the past, but this looks like an interesting couple of sales going on here. Part 1 is at 10 o'clock in the morning on the 19th, and then Part 2 starts at 1 in the afternoon. The premium lots will be sold on the first day of the Chinese sale in the morning, and then the Japanese sale the next day has a lot of good lots in it as well. But the second part of the Chinese sale is more the kind of things that the average collector buys. And I think they have some very reasonable estimates, and I think a number of the lots are unreserved, so it's worth looking into. And we're going to start with this. These are the bronzes. They've got some wonderful bronzes in the sale. This one is a confession Buddha, and it's a very, very rare type. It's one of the 35 confession Buddhas, and this is Nashri. But this one's exceptional, and it's inscribed. And inscribed confession Buddhas are extremely rare. And if you go and you look at the big auction houses or any auction houses, you're going to find very, very few of them that are authentic and that are old. This one dates probably to the early to mid 17th century. It's gilt bronze. It's 24 centimeters high. So it's about 10 inches tall. It is of exceptional quality and condition. It comes out of a very good collection. They have a whole lot in here about the fellow that owned it originally, or the British collector that had it. And this is it. And right away, you notice the casting is superb on this. The gilding is 95% intact on it. It's crisply done all the way down. It's in excellent condition. The fingers, the hands, everything are here. The folds on the robes are excellent. Has all the signs of good age. The inscription is there on the back. It's a wonderful, wonderful bronze. I think the estimate is low. I may be wrong. It's estimated at 10 to 20,000 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised if it brought double that. This is a very rare bird, and it's still retaining its bottom plate and all that. Let's see, bring it up here. There it is, beautifully inscribed. On the bottom, precise decoration. It looks like a double vajra on there, and excellent. And then there's this one. This is also a very rare one. It's one of the Panchen Lamas. It's of Labseng Yeshi or Yishi. He was the part of a very prominent Buddhist family, and he came up around, what are they giving him for dates? 1663 to 1737. So early Qing dynasty, basically, up to he died sort of at the end of the Yongshen period. But this is a beautifully inscribed example, again from the same collection, 21 centimeters high, so it's about a little under 9 inches in height. Wonderful example, and again, in incredible condition. They have excellent photographs, by the way. If you like websites that provide great photographs, Woolley and Wallace have got it figured out. And as you can see, you can really zoom in on it, and you can even pull in on it more. The zoom quality of their photos are excellent, so you can really get into the details. If you're learning about Asian art and objects, their site is extremely educational because you can really get into the details, as you're seeing here. This is incredible how well they expand. Um, Put it back down. So there's this bronze. It's excellent. It's estimated again at 10 to 20,000. I think that's a bit on the reasonable side, on the low end. Here's an image of I guess he was a colonel or a major, Sir Gerard Leslie Makins Clausen. He died in 1974 and was acquired prior to 1939. He was an English civil servant, businessman, Orientalist, best known for his studies of Turkic language, and so he was a scholar and a gentleman, as they say. But at any rate, this is one of his pieces. There are a number of bronzes, I think, in this collection that were his. You can ask them which ones were his if you call them, if you want to find out. And then there's this one, an awfully nice gilt copper alloy of the Tibetan. This is a Tibetan example of the Avalokit Shivra. I always stumble on these words. I'm not terribly multisyllabic at times. And there it is. It's a beautiful example. And again, enlarges wonderfully and in pristine condition, very crisply carved. I think that the quality or cast rather, I think the quality of the casting on this is going to push this up a lot, in my opinion. I think it's an excellent bronze all the way down, beautiful condition, great patina, and so forth. It's got it all. It's some good photographs of the back of it. It dates to the what are they saying? 16th century, 16th century. So 1500 somewhere. It's 26 centimeters tall, so it's a fairly good size one. It's about 10 inches in height. That's a pretty good. It's a little over 10 inches actually, and it's estimated at 15 to 20,000 pounds. It could do very well. Some of these gilded bronze Buddhas, especially from old collections, have done awfully well in the last few years. So we'll see how this one does. But these are all great pieces. These are all wonderful examples. And then there's one of the Yamantaka, and this is the killer of death, as he's known. He's actually one of the good guys. He's very ferocious, and he's the destroyer of death and fear and all that sort of thing. And again, wonderful casting. You have all the heads and masks and so forth. The facial details are excellent on this. It is estimated at 30 to 50,000 pounds. These are fairly rare, and this is a big one. It's 42 centimeters high. So this example is about 16 inches in height. This is a big bronze, awfully fine. Good photographs of it all the way around. I looked at it before I did the recording, and all the way around, it looks like it's in wonderful condition. And again, these bring very, very good money very often. There's some history. It was bought in Shanghai in 1935, and a copy of the original invoice for this one is available. All right. And then you have this. This is coming up as well. This is a very nice. There's some snuff bottles in the sale, some great ones. But this one is awfully nice. It's Qianlong period example. Famille Rose, white glass with quails and millet snuff bottle. 1736, 1795, as we all know, estimated at 4 to 6,000 pounds. But the quality of this snuff bottle is really exceptional. If you like great snuff bottles, this is a good bottle. The detailed work. Now think about how small this bottle is and how finely painted it is. It's wonderfully painted, great colors, nicely done, lots of detail on it. Looks like it's in superb condition. Great piece. And then over to this jade table screen, circular table screen, $3,000 to $5,000 estimate. They're dating it as it looks like they're thinking it's probably late Qianlong to Jiaqing period, which is entirely reasonable. But the workmanship on this it's a very, very fine little screen. And if you pull it in, you'll see. Wait for the picture to clear up. There we go. The carving on this is exceptional. The carving on this is just really, really fine all the way around. It's deeply carved. It's finished deep inside, which is what when you look at jades and carvings, you want to see if it's got a lot of relief on it. Did they finish and polish it deep down? Did they really get in there and really finish it, or leave it sort of crude and rough? Because the copies tend to be rather crude. But if you look in here, you see lots of details in the backgrounds everywhere. And the color of the stone looks to be excellent. It measures 21 centimeters, so it's about 8.5 inches, 9 inches tall. And it's estimated at 3,000 to 5,000 pounds, which I think is very reasonable. It's a very, very attractive example. As it says here, 18th to 19th century. But probably late Qianlong, early Shai-Qing period. And then the Zitan Scholars Brush Pot Box, or Bitong, $4,000 to $6,000 estimate. Probably early Qing, probably an early Qing example from the workmanship. Very, very nicely done. They said it's Zitan wood. It looks a little brown to me to be Zitan, but you can ask them about it. It doesn't look like it has that purple tone that you sometimes see. It could be the lighting, but it's an awfully finely carved brush pot. Very, very nice all the way around. It's got lots of patina on it, no doubt about the age. And it's estimated at 4,000 to 6,000 pounds, and it measures about 8 inches tall. So it's a pretty good sized brush pot. It's a pretty good sized brush pot. But I'd ask about the are they certain that it's Zitan? It may well be. It may well be. It just got a little bit lighter in the wood when they carved into it. But just ask them. All right, and then over to this Chinese cloisonné gu form vases, $10,000 to $15,000. Qing Dynasty. They didn't date these, and they're probably early 19th century or late 18th century, I suspect. But there's the work on them. Yeah, I don't. These don't look like late Qing examples to me. They look like they're probably 18th to early 19th century. Very, very finely done, though. Wonderful. And a nice form. And of course, these are all based on early archaic bronzes that were originally done that weren't cloisonné, obviously. And they measure about 11 inches tall each. Or no, almost 13 inches tall. It's 31 centimeters in height, and they have a $10,000 to $15,000 estimate. But it's a pair, and they're in good shape. And pairs of these are exceedingly difficult to get in good condition. And they were purchased at Christie's on November 5th, 2019. So you can maybe go look that up and see how they did then, and then decide how much you want to spend this time around. But 10,000 to 15,000 pounds is the estimate. I suspect that's what they sold for a few years ago. And then you have this bronze incense burner and cup. This is a wonderful form. It's 17th to early 18th century, and by repute. It was formerly in the collection of Professor R.M. Hicks, OBE. And let this blow up. This had very nice surface on it. I remember looking at this before I was laying things out that I was going to discuss. I thought the patina on this was awfully nice, awfully attractive, and very undisturbed, as you can see. It's got a Ming mark on it. It's a little post. I think they think it's post Ming. It's early Qing Dynasty with a Ming mark. Not unusual, but beautifully done. Measures 14 centimeters, or about 6 inches tall, roughly. And it's estimated at 2,500 to 3,500 pounds, but it's complete, and it's still got its cover, which is interesting because you see these around, but you rarely see them with their covers. You see this form, the bottom part, you do see on occasion turn up in auctions, but they don't have their tops. They look like that. And this one is complete, and it's got a Ming mark on it, even though it's not Ming. People still like them, and it helps support a good value. All right, and then over to this. Now, this is a really terrific piece of cloisonné, and this came from apparently from the Fonthill collection in Wiltshire. Fonthill heirlooms owned by Alfred Morrison, and we've talked about Fonthill before because Fonthill is an extraordinary collection that was established back in the 19th century. In the early 20th century, I think they added on to it. But there was a lot of discussion about Fonthill because a lot of the items that were they claim were looted from the Ming Yuan when Lord Elgin destroyed the place. Ended up at Fonthill. They did end up at Fonthill. There's no disputing it anymore. Not anybody who's serious, anyways. So I don't know if this was one of the looted items or not. Probably not. They had other things in their collection that weren't looted, but there were a number of objects that were. That's why I'm only mentioning this in case if Font Hill rings a bell. That's why it rings a bell. It was a great collection, but there was a lot of intrigue about where the stuff came from, and this is one of the pieces that was in Font Hill. Just leave it at that. Beautiful piece of cloisonne, May pink form, wonderful colors, good condition all the way down. Um, Looks absolutely fine to me. Appears to be 18th century. They're dating it Qianlong period. It measures 37 centimeters. So this is a pretty good sized vase, about 15 inches in height, 15, 16 inches. It's estimated at 15 to 25,000 pounds. I don't think that's a terribly high number for that, really. I think that's pretty reasonable. There's a whole bunch on the ownership of it and all that. And you can look it up, and I'm sure they have some documentation about how long it was in the collection. Maybe you could ask about it. That's Font Hill. That was the famous house that had this enormous, incredible imperial and 18th century Qing Ming porcelains. It was quite fantastic. And then over to this. This is a pair of ruby ground or ruby and famille rose vases with covers. Now these are awfully nice, and they're pretty big. They're about 18 inches tall for each, in very good condition. Date to the Yongzheng period. Let's blow these up, but very fine quality, very fine workmanship. This beautiful raspberry ground that they're covered with, which is one of a very popular color during the Yongzheng period. And there's little fu lines on top of them. These are quite lovely, and they're beautifully shaped. I love the shape of them. They got the flower basket pattern here, and then lotus leaves at the bottom, very delicately decorated, and then the base sort of steps under down to the foot rim. These are awfully well potted, and I think the estimate is very reasonable on these 10 to 20,000 pounds. These are beautiful, and they're big. Always remember how big these things are. You got to sort of lay out your hands and say, that's a nice big pair of jars. They look extraordinary in a hallway, on tables, or in the end of a living room above a mantle. You need a pretty big mantle to take these things, but they're awfully nice. They're awfully nice. And again, 10 to 20,000 pounds. I don't think that's too bad. All right. And the sale just goes on from that. There's many other things. There's lots of porcelain. Check out the sale. There's 100 lots in the first part one. And then when you get over to part two, hold on. Part two, you have this sale. Now, this is much more moderately priced things. Things in the $1,000 to $1,500 range, 200 to 300 pounds for bronzes. There's quite a few bronzes in. There's some good Tibetan art. There's relief carvings, boxes, lots of bronze. There's a lot of bronze in this sale, as you can see. Go through it. Some of them are 19th century bronzes. Some of them are 18th and 17th and Ming bronzes. You want to go through it. Okay, some very good looking brush pots. There's some burl wood carvings in here, bamboo armrests, lots of paintings too. There's a whole lot of paintings in this sale. So let's just pop in here for a minute. One of them is one of these Chinese famille rose chicken cups. Now this is interesting because there's another pair of cups coming up in another sale over in the U.S. I'm not sure if is it not Revere. One of them, we talked about it the other day. Hold on a second. And this is sort of an interesting thing. Hold on just a second. That cup is estimated at 3,000 to 5,000 pounds, which I don't think is that crazy because they've been bringing Litchfield. All right. Here's another pair of them. Okay. Now these I don't think are quite as good as the ones here. These have stronger colors. These are all Republic period. Okay, none of these are Qianlong. This is a Republic period pair, and that's a Republic period pair of them. Now they may look a little washed out in this photo, the ones at Litchfield, because they are the lighting is too strong. Yeah, the lighting is very strong because this is all washed away. Get some natural light pictures. And see if you might get those. But at any rate, on back over to here to this one, this is a very fine one. They've estimated at 3,000 to 5,000 pounds because a few months ago, you may recall, there was a box lot of 4 of these that sold for about $25,000. So the estimate is in line, believe it or not. And it's got a Qianlong mark, of course, on the bottom. And it's a very nicely done cup. There it is. There's the sort of messed up Qianlong mark that they always used. And And here's the details on this one. The lighting on this is excellent, so you really get a sense of the colors, 3 to 5,000. So check that out. And then over to this beautiful moon flask. Now this is an interesting. It's a Ming style moon flask, but it was done during probably during the late 18th, early 19th century, and it's based on an example that was originally done. I think that it's sort of a unique thing. There was one they found from the Yongle period done in a very very similar manner. Now this one is I don't believe it has a mark on it. They're just dating it as Qing Dynasty because maybe they're not sure. Or some people said it was 18th century, other people said it's 19th century. There's that whole debate and so forth. But at any rate, it's a beautiful example. It's estimated at 15 to 20,000 pounds, which is I think pretty reasonable for one of these. The color on this, the cobalt here, looks to me, the way it's done, it looks like a late 18th century moon flask to me. The texture of the cobalt and the way it's decorated, I don't think it's early 19th century or early 18th century. It looks like it's probably a later 18th century one, but very nicely done. The clay looks good, and 15 to 20,000. It's a nice looking pot, and it measures, what is it, about 10 inches tall or something? Hold on a second, see if we can find the dimensions on here. 28 centimeters, so it's about 11 inches tall. Yeah, there we go. All right, and now over to this turquoise ground Tibetan style altar vase, also known as a Ben Bap Ping. And you see these occasionally. They don't turn up all that often. The colors are nice. It's got the turquoise ground on these is sort of a typical thing. It's got the seal marking period of Shijing. Qing example, obviously. And there it is. Very nice, nicely done. And again, you can really look at the enamels. And I urge you to do that. The texture of the enamels here around the neck, the way it's potted and so forth, all the way up. It's a very, very good example, and it is estimated at 40 to 60,000 pounds because they're rare. It measures around 10 inches in height. Beautiful example, and they've got a whole bunch of history on it. It came from a noble Italian consul based in China during the period of 1907 to 31. So somebody was over there on a government, on Italian government, and picked themselves up some porcelain. And then over here, this is, let's see, there's just some more of, maybe, these are, wait a minute, these were, I mixed these up a little bit here. Hold on a second here. Lot 92, okay. The last few things I've done, they are still part of the first day. All right, now we get over into the hold on. Okay, this page here starts over in here. This is, okay, now we're into the second part. Sorry about the order. It's all on the same day. It doesn't make a big difference. I mixed up the order a little bit. All those pieces previously, those are on the first part one of the two-part sale on the first day. And then you have all of these pieces. These are coming up also on this first day in the afternoon sale. Wonderful examples. And that includes some of those bronzes we were looking at earlier that I scrolled through and so forth. But let's wander through these. First, there's some very nice paintings. There's a good gouache painting of a mandarin here. There's two of them here. This is a nice looking picture. And it doesn't have a crazy estimate on it. I think it's quite lovely. There we go. Mid-19th century, it looks to be. There's two of them. They're all framed, ready to go, and the estimate is very reasonable. 150 to 250 pounds. That's it. It's an absolute bargain, and they're just dating them as 19th century. They're probably from about 1840 or so. They're on paper. And then there's this. Now, this is, how big is this brush pot? It's just a hair under 6 inches tall. It's a late Qing 19th century example from what I'm seeing, but beautifully decorated and sort of unusual for a brush pot to be decorated in this manner. It's sort of an unusual pattern. Usually they're blue and white, or they've got landscapes in the round and that sort of thing. This is a figural landscape, which you do see on them, but not quite done this way. I think it's very nicely done. It's very pretty. and it's estimated at just 5 to 800 pounds, which I think is very reasonable. And then there's this. It's it looks to be probably an early Republic example, yellow ground, famille rose decoration, very, very attractive, estimated at just 500 to 1,000 pounds, and it measures. Well, I don't think they bought. Oh, there it is, 29 centimeters, just a hair under a foot tall. Just a hair under a foot tall. Now, this is sort of an interesting thing. They're dating this as a Chinese underglazed blue, red, and celadon landscape brush pot by Baitong. Now, they're saying it's probably Kangxi. Um, if it is Kangxi, it's going to bring a lot more than 400 to 600 pounds. So I'm a little mystified by the estimate if they think that it's probably Kangxi, unless they're just saying it's up to you. Because if it is Kangxi and they don't have a picture of the bottom of it, the decoration looks pretty good. The blue looks a little gray to me, but if it is a Kangxi pot, with this color palette, as a lot of you know who collect, know that underglazed blue, underglazed red, and underglazed greens, the celadon glaze, to get that all fired properly is a real tough trick to pull off. And the Kangxi examples, the authentic ones in this style, sort of the bottom price for these is typically around 20,000 to 30,000 pounds. So I'm a bit mystified by the estimate. I don't quite understand it, unless they're just not confident enough to say it, because they don't tend to say things at this company unless it's true. So there you have it. It measures about 7 inches, just a hair under 7 inches in height. If you're a brush pot buyer, you want to investigate this a little bit, because it could be the bargain of the month. I mean, or the bargain of the year. If it is a Kangxi example, it looks pretty good, but I'd want to get I'd want to get a lot more information on it and look up a lot of comps to it. Some of the decoration on it looks pretty good. The only concern I have is that the cobalt looks a little bit gray. Looks a little bit off. And that may be the light. It's hard to tell with digital photography sometimes. All right, and then over to this very nice Master of the Rocks jar. If you've ever wanted one, there's a reasonable one, $300 to $500. It's late transitional to Kangxi period. It's a pretty standard shape, but it's very powerfully decorated. I think the decoration on it was quite successful. The way they applied all the cobalt, and then the people in the boat underneath this massive looks like a massive cloud coming in over them. It's either a mountain. No, it's a cloud. It looks like a cloud coming in or something coming in over them along the water. I don't think that's a mountain, and it's like a rocky shoreline with clouds coming over it. That's the way it reads to me. And then you have the rocky outcroppings here. Nice looking thing. And again, $300 to $500 pounds. I guess they're being sold without reserve. There it is. You want to get a condition report on that? That could be a bargain. It's a pretty good looking thing, and it's about 10 inches tall. And then over to this. Now, this is another thing. Now, they're dating this as Kangxi, formerly the property of a gentleman. It is fairly good size, 72 centimeters in height. All right, that's a big one. That's 30 inches tall, estimated at 1,000 to 2,000 pounds. That seems awfully low to me. I have to think that it's been restored or something, or they're just saying it's unreserved, so you decide what it's worth. I'm not sure what the angle is here, but this is Kangxi blue and white. And if you think about the blue we were just looking at on the brush pot, this is more of a richer sapphire color. This is what I'd prefer to see. If the brush pot had this kind of cobalt, I'd be more convinced. I guess I'm sort of with them, possibly Kangxi, but you need to see the bottom of that thing. But this is a very nicely done thing. The boats are beautifully detailed. The drawing on this struck me as being awfully good, and I'm a bit mystified by the estimate, because this is a very big piece of porcelain. It's got a very nice bit of decoration around the collar. The lid is original to it, from what I can see, and it's big. This is a great big pot, and it's just estimated at 1,000 to 2,000 pounds. So that's worth something to, especially if you're in the UK. Because you don't have to pay shipping. And if you're in London, it's only 2 hours away to go over there and pick it up. If you're anywhere, it's a very convenient location. You're at a great advantage if you're in the UK over outside bidders, people abroad, because shipping this out of the UK into the EU or anywhere is going to be hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and shipping it to the US is going to even be worse because of the tariffs. So take advantage of the opportunity if you're in the UK and you've been looking for a giant Kangxi jar. But do get a condition report. Make sure that it's okay. All right, make sure it's in good shape. All right. Now, over to this. This is the Japanese stuff. So that's sort of all the Chinese stuff. There's a lot to look at. There is a lot there. So take your time, go through it. And it's fun to see this stuff too, because you can really get into the photos and really study the pieces and the details. This is the Japanese Works of Art sale. And there's, as I said, there's a sale of from a sort of a well-known guy. I guess he collected only Kakiemon. And this starts on what is this? What day is this? This is the 20th, Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. I want to get that right. And take a walk through here. There's a bunch of very nice looking blue and white Arita-wares. If you're a Japanese porcelain collector, you want to look into this. There's some nice 17th century ceramics like this one with the box. Very nicely decorated. This is a beautiful plate with the brown dressing on the rim, I like the brown dressing because you can always look at it very quickly to see if there's any damage to it, because if it has got a chip out of it, it'll be white, and you can just quickly go around it. And this is reflections. Those aren't chips. You're going to be never. It's easy to misvisualize it and think that it's a chip when it's just the light reflecting off it. That's all light reflection. It's estimated at 1,500 to 2,500 pounds. It's a pretty rare type, beautifully done with the Fuku mark on the back. And then over to this nice big Japanese Arita vase. Again, we've seen that some of these Arita pieces doing awfully well lately in a number of sales over in the UK and even here in the US now. This one is a little over a foot tall, 31 centimeters. It's still got its cover. I'm wondering, it looks like it's missing the finial off the cover. But this is a well-known pattern. If you been through a bunch of collection books and so forth and looked around, you'll find them. This particular style, it's only estimated at 500 to 1,000 pounds. Now they're saying 18th or 19th century. I really want to examine this carefully because it looks older than that to me. It looks like an early 18th to maybe late 17th century example. They have not provided any bottom shots of it. You want to check that out because I haven't seen many late Edo pieces done in this style at all. So check it out, Private English Collection, and the estimate is very reasonable. And as we've seen, Arita wares are starting to get a lot of interest out there. Now here's a pair that are circa 1700. These are earlier ones. Circa 17, I mean, they could have been made in the 1690s to 1710, somewhere in that range. 10, always add or minus 10 years on most of these pieces, unless they're dated for some reason or there's some, absolute rock solid evidence to the contrary. But these are fairly large. These are, again, over 30 inches tall each. These are 73 centimeters in height. It's a pair, and they're estimated at 4,000 to 6,000 pounds, which I think is pretty reasonable. I think they may do a lot better than that. No, they got pictures of the estate that it came out of and everything. There they are, having dinner, and beautiful looking pots. Now, the ones we've seen recently with these lids and in this condition, they've been bringing $4,000 to $12,000 a piece, depending on the pattern, for one of them. So the estimate of 4,000 to 6,000 pounds on these seems very encouraging, very reasonable. And they're not this big. Most of the ones that have sold are nowhere near this size. These things are huge. 73 centimeters. So that's about 29 inches, 30 inches in height. They're big pots. And then over to this Kutani, large pair of Kutani vases. If you're a Kutani buyer, they are 18 inches tall each. And they're a pair, they're signed on the bottoms and all that. And they're really, really lovely quality with all the alohans on it. bring it in. There they are. But very finely detailed all through the bodies, all through the textiles and the robes. The enamels look good. Very clean around the foot. Don't no chips or nicks or bangs or anything. The rim and the mouth looks good. You want to get a condition report always with ceramics, so any hairlines you can't see in the photos, all that business. But if they're in fine condition and in this size, 5 to 800 pounds is an awfully reasonable estimate for those. And there's the mark on the bottom. You can run over to kutani.com and look it up. There is a site called kutani.com. It's an excellent site. If you collect Japanese Kutani wares, join the site. He's a very nice guy, and he's very helpful, and they have lots of good information. All right, now 5 to 800 pounds seems very reasonable for this. For these, it seems cheap. So if you're a Japanese collector in the UK, this is a great sale. If you're a UK collector, go there, check into a hotel for a couple of days, and have some fun, because there's a whole midsection of the sale with modestly priced things. If you're a dealer, you can get some great inventory. All right, and now over to this. This is awfully nice. This is by Atsuyoshi, and he was a famous Kyoto area bronze maker, and he was tied into that in the Edo Meiji period, tied into that tradition of a lot of the Manuki and sword fitting makers went into making decorative bronzes. He was part of that sort of movement, I guess. He's very well known. His things turn up in lots of big auction houses all the time. Did extremely fine work like this. This is a very, very pretty moon flask. It's not terribly big. It's about 6 inches tall, but wonderfully done. Very fine quality. Decorated on both sides, of course. There it is. All right. And it's estimated at 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. What's the exact height of it? There it is. It's just a hair under 7 inches in height. A little over 6 inches. Beautiful bronze work, though. And then popping over to this is a piece by Namakawa Yatsuyuki. He was the legendary cloisonne maker in Japan. There it is. That's his silver plate that he put on the bottom when he did the pieces. When he did his own pieces, not in his studio, he did them, it got a silver plate, and there's a pin that goes through, and it's screwed into the inside of these pots. It's estimated at 2,000 to 4,000 pounds. Which is, I think, very reasonable for a piece of Namakawa work. It measures 8 centimeters in height, so it's about what's that? About 4 inches, 3.5, 4 inches. It's not terribly big. The photographs are a little bit can be a little bit deceiving. It looks like a 10 or 12-inch vase. It's not. It's fairly small, but very finely worked. Very, very finely worked. You want to check out at the bottom here if is that a bend in the metal, or is that just where the enamel? Might be just where the some of the enameling rubbed off. You want to check that out. Some of the patina came off, but at any rate, it's a very rare example by the most important, arguably one of the most important cloisonne makers of the Meiji Restoration period. And then you have things like this, Shibayama. There's a bunch of sword fittings in this sale also. I should have mentioned that. This is a really rare Shibayama-style lacquer suba. You don't see these very often. It's estimated 6,000 to 8,000 pounds because it's a very, very rare bird done during the Meiji period. And this is obviously a decorative suba. This was not meant to go into, the samurai to wear this into combat or anything. This was done sort of as a commemorative thing, but beautiful quality lacquer work. Just wonderful. Mother of pearl inlay, enamels, all of it, all the way around. Very, very rare. This is a really rare type of suba. And again, for 6,000 to 8,000 pounds. Is there any history on this thing? It might be interesting to find out where this came from. This might have come from a very good collection. I'm sure it did, but find out more about it. Then you have the bronze fixture, the Bosatsu Buddha. This one is, what size is this one? Probably not terribly big. 5 inches tall. There you go. It reads like it's fairly small, but very nicely cast. Nice one, old surface. The hands are missing, of course, they often are. Just up on a little plinth, and it's estimated at $1,500 to $2,000. And this is an early one. This is a 14th century example. They're figuring it's from the Kamakura period. So keep that in mind. Early Japanese bronzes are very rare, and they don't turn up all that often. So when they do, they get pretty stiff estimates. And then there's this, a gilt wood figure of Jizo Bosatsu. And this looks like it's in great condition. Again, Edo period, 18th century. Pull this up. Hold on, let it load. There we go. There. Nicely done. Very cute face. It's complete all the way around. He's got his scepter and everything. I don't see any damage. There's a tiny nick off off his big toe there, but that's not a big problem. There's some. This is a body crack from drying out. The wood separated a little bit. That's all sort of normal stuff that you see on these. Nothing to worry about. But it's a beautifully done example. It's a beautifully done example. And how tall is this one? It's probably not terribly big. Oh no, it's good size. It's 53 centimeters, so it's about what's that work out to? About 20 odd inches, 22 inches tall. It's a big one. I've seen you see these typically they're about 16 inches or 14 inches. This is a bit bigger. It's a good bit bigger. So bravo on that. This is a nice one. It's estimated 2,500 to 4,000 pounds. I think that's pretty reasonable. 18th century in good condition. Yeah, that's fine. That's a fair estimate. And then over to this Japanese Buddha scroll. Bark! Oh, I think one of the neighbor's dogs is over. Anyway, 18th and 19th century, Shakyamuni in attendance. This is I like the feeling of it. Buck! It's Sunday here, and Buck is excited. All the doors are open. This is a nice old one, and it's got wear because it was used a lot. This got saw a lot of action, as they say, and the estimate is very reasonable, $200 to $300. Wonderful thing. And then, oh, there he goes. Buck! Buck! What are you doing? I think somebody's on the street out in front of our house. He gets excited. And then there's this very nice Japanese. I'm just showing these as some of the artwork that are there. If you like, if you're over in the UK and you want to pick up some artwork, again, these are very hard to ship because they're framed. So getting them shipped, anywhere is going to be expensive. This thing is 5 feet. 60 centimeters. So it's and 117 centimeters tall. So it's about 4 feet. Hair under 4 feet tall and 2 feet wide. So this is a pretty good sized picture framed. It's estimated at $1,500 to $2,500. It's beautifully done. Dainichi Nyorai. It's a wonderful example. And this kind of stuff you're going to find through the wholesale. I won't go on for anymore. Go to Woolley and Wallace's website. They've got flipbook catalogs. You can take a link, throw it on your computer, and have a look at it. Go through it all. You have plenty of time. You've got 9 or 10 days to get in touch with them with questions and get condition reports. Register for the sale. Register on their website. I highly recommend it. Every time you save money on commissions, and you build a relationship with the auction house, and they like to know who people are. And it's I think a better way of doing it than doing it through Invaluable or Live Auctioneers. These people are not on. I don't believe this sale is on Live Auctioneers at all, but only Invaluable. But it's an excellent couple of days of auctions. So check it out. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm glad I got this out because I completely missed looking at this sale a couple of days ago, and I was going through all the sales in the UK right now because there's a pile of them. If you're a Patreon subscriber, if you look in this week's Gazette over there, you can scroll down and you'll see there are a bunch of little sales all over the UK coming up in the next week or two. You might find some sleepers. I'm going to poke around at them a bit myself, and if I see anything interesting, I'll let you all know. All right. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment. Tell me what things you'd like me to cover if I'm not covering them. Love to hear. And see you next time. All right. Bye-bye.